extra proud of all of the things that you did. He was really, really proud of all of the different businesses that you got into. Ginny always excelled at everything that she did. There are very few things that you didn't do well. Maybe you're just smart enough to not do the things that you don't do well. And I'm definitely not as prepared as Ginny. I had to write my notes down on my phone. I do have a couple of things that I'd like to say. I always think back to the things that Phil said a lot that really ring in my head, and I hear them over and over again, like just in daily conversations. Let me tell you something. I don't care what anybody says. The whole thing was a fiasco. Anyhow, you want to know the truth? Which, aside, I always do like to know the truth. I'm really sorry to get frustrated with him saying that. Definitely don't lie to me. And as far as I'm concerned, he would say that a whole lot. But the thing that really stuck with me growing up at the snowball stand and the show house, he had Grandma got a sign made for him a long, long time ago. It was there my whole life. And it always said, the bitterness of poor quality is remembered long after the sweetness of low price is forgotten. And that's always really stuck with me. I don't really know what it was about that he loved so much, but I loved it too. And it was just something that it really makes me think of him. But also when I think of him pretty much in 3 daily modes, which I think Ginny kind of alluded to some of them: eat, sleep, and work. Those were pretty much the only things that I knew him doing. I do remember the times when I was really young, like when Von Lumber caught fire on New Year's Eve in like 1988, and he was like, "Let's go down and watch it burn." So that is something that I hadn't even thought of in a long time until Ginny said he was always excited to go watch a fire, watch Garrett run fill up in the rain. I feel like he taught, I don't want to speak for Ginny, but I think he taught us a couple of really good things. He taught us to work hard. He taught us to be honest. He taught us how to fix stuff. I know you alluded to that. He definitely taught us to help others. But I think that some of the things that we think about is, even though he was always kind of in work mode, Christmas morning would come and he would show us the fun of Christmas. I always felt like that was his favorite holiday, particularly in the morning once he was done with selling trees and maybe shaved up and cleaned up and not all sappy and terrible. There were loads of times, Ginny even said it earlier, there were loads of times where he would help strangers that would pull up at the snowball stand or the nursery and they had run out of gas. He'd give them the gas can. They'd never bring it back. He'd go buy another one and give it to the next person that ran out of gas. Customers would perpetually lock themselves out of their car, and he was an artist at creating a coat hook to pull these things. Until new cars came out where all he would do was swear at the person who was driving the car that can't be jimmied open like the old days. I never heard him say no to a friend in need of help. He rarely said no to lending money, but one thing that he always told me my whole life when it came to lending money, neither a borrower nor a lender be, but if you have to be one or the other, be a borrower. But I never saw him borrow money. I always saw him lend money. He did always say that. That had gotten me to thinking about all of the things that I had said to him multiple times. Things like, "Hey, my Jeep won't start. Can you tow me home?" He did that more times than I can count on 2 hands and both feet. I asked him for help for pretty much everything in my life. I'd ask him if he knew about things. It didn't matter what the thing was, and fill in the blank, and he would have some sort of input on it. I'm not sure if he always made them up or if he knew what was going on, but he generally had a pretty good handle on at least the basics of many things. And really the thing that I probably asked him more than anything else in my life, the thing that I said to him more, besides "I love you," was, "Can I have 50 cents for the soda machine?" I definitely said that a lot of times. I'm looking at Ginny a lot when I say this because I think both of us shared those kinds of things together.
I know, it is true. I mean, you think it's normal growing up with, like, unlimited ice. Soda machines everywhere. You think every kid just has to go get 50 cents to get a soda 24 hours a day. You have a soda machine outside your door. 12 trucks. Like, I never didn't have 8 vehicles to choose from.
Yeah, when something would break down, you'd go jump in the dump truck and take that.
You don't understand that. Everybody doesn't grow up with all this crazy stuff around.
Yeah, there was a point where I was doing a show at Everyman, and that was another time that one of my Jeeps broke down. It had this problem where it would get wet and it just wouldn't start. And we had taken like the whole dashboard apart and doing all these things, and I had rehearsal, and so I had to drive that big old clonkety dump truck that Bob and Fritz has. I had to drive that down to everyman theater, so I looked like a true hillbilly redneck kid down there, especially around all those liberals. But you know, he did enjoy a lot of things. He enjoyed the company of, I think, pretty safe to say, everybody that's sitting in this room. We all had a lot of memories of him, but the things that he really liked: plants, cars, politics, the hot food bar at the grocery store. He loved that. He loved talking to people. He loved to sit under the sycamore tree next to the snowball stand or in at the counter, give advice, tell stories, get loud, get abrasive, get obnoxious, and then be really happy when you walk in the next time. He was really always able to just drop everything after his, like Ginny would say, his fury or his explosion, and then, for me at least, always kind of just show you love right after that. And that was a characteristic that I definitely carry as well. But yeah, I think that it was always good that he always had time for me whenever I called him for anything, whether it was, you know, my wife Jen. We went to buy that Cherokee. We bought a Cherokee in like 1999 or 2000, and when we bought the Cherokee, it didn't run. We put like $45 or $50 into it. She drove it for 4 years. He did not make fun of me for buying this old beat-up piece of crap. He was pretty much always there for all of my choices, and I'll definitely miss that. I really appreciate all y'all coming out here. So that's pretty much all I think I have to say. But I thank y'all very much for listening.